From LALATE News headquarters in Santa Monica, this is Mornings LALATE.
It's a big morning of Mornings LA with incredible great news about your fourth stimulus check update of 2022 as this channel celebrates its 2-year anniversary, and eerily similar as we start the breaking news today for April 25th, 2022. The news looks similar to what it was on day one, because guess what's happening? China is on a lockdown, and that lockdown for China is now signaling that world economies could also be going on lockdown. And the stock market is down 200 points this morning. We'll go over the latest details across the board, which is big money, because guess what? Another stimulus check became the law over the weekend. If you missed it, I have the latest details on the brand new stimulus check from your state. It's Check D. That's on top of the 4 stimulus checks coming from the President of the United States. You may have thought that there was only stimulus checks coming from Congress, but now we have 4 stimulus checks coming from the President. We have 4 stimulus checks coming from the states. And in this recording, we go over the incredible great news live on air from the shores of Santa Monica, California on Mornings. Then we'll be turning to the economic data that is signaling turbulent times this week. That is really a very dramatic understatement. We're going over what the Federal Reserve is doing and how that impacts your benefits on SSI, SSDI, and that raising up of your benefits, because you need it if you're on Social Security or veterans benefits. We'll be looking at the big exciting news of student loan debt forgiveness, as no less than 6 executive orders in 7 days. A new week is upon us, and we ended the end of last week with indication the president has on the table complete student loan debt forgiveness. Whoa, that is huge. All the latest details on that. Then we'll be looking at what happened with now that France has re-elected for the first time in many decades a sitting president, Macron, and why that's so important for your 6th stimulus package. We'll be looking at everything you need to know, and we'll have a preview of tonight's surprise. Yes, tonight we have a big 2-year anniversary special. It's like anything you've ever seen, and I'll have a preview of what's coming up tonight. From the shores of Santa Monica, California, it's your 4th stimulus check update with the incredible details of checks landing by direct deposit. And if you haven't become a member, you want to become a member during this broadcast. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, or Calcino VIP. The toast is toasting, the butter is buttering, the coffee is brewing as we start a 2nd year, and my bacon is still missing. Oh, nothing seems to change here. It's Mornings LALATE. Good morning, everybody. Hope you're having a beautiful day. It is blazingly hot here in Southern California, which means one thing. It means Javita Late's on the beach with 7 scarves on. Have you become a member? Go to the top of the channel and pin comment. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, Casino VIP, because guess what? We now have no less than 4 different stimulus checks coming across the board, and you're likely to qualify for at least 2. We have recessionary heads heating up today. We have inflationary pressures and now causes of stagflation worries. Yeah, I haven't heard that word in a few days as well. Plus, we have good news as France re-elected Macron. But boy, we have a lot of exciting details to go over this 1-hour broadcast live on air. We start with the new 4 stimulus checks that have landed by direct deposit, a lot of them, from different places, from different sources. Remember, don't just look to Congress. Other people can give you some more stimulus checks, and they have. They've landed by direct deposit. And if you haven't got to them, I'm going to go over in this recording how you get them. But we start today with the breaking news about the Build Back Better Act. It's a congressional piece of legislation, a bill, that's currently sitting in Congress called the 4 stimulus recon. Now, you've learned since then that there's other 4 stimuluses besides the congressional one. But let's go over the latest details on the Build Back Better Act right now. The latest indications the White House will likely get the Build Back Better Act done, ramp it up very quickly in the next 4 weeks. Why? Because the president understands that he needs to get refocused back on domestic agenda before the midterm elections. Now, you may think you vote on November, but most Americans vote by mail 2 months earlier. That means that they have to have Build Back Better Act formalized into a negotiated settlement agreement before they vote on it as early as the next 3 weeks. Let's go over the details. The voting by mail would start as early as 2 months or 3 months before election night. That means October, September, August. And that means they would send out a check by July because they want to have the check in your hand, or checks, I should say, in your hand before you vote. If they've had the checks going out in July, they have to have the final signature by the president in June. They have to have the final vote by May. And that means not just House, but also Senate. The other detail that came in over the weekend is that insiders of the White House say that the Wall Street is overprojecting where the U.S. economy is going to be at the end of the year. What do we look at when we're looking at numbers? One of the most important numbers you're going to see over this channel in the next 2 years is the GDP. Why? If the GDP number is negative, it means you're in a recession. If the number's positive, it means you're not in a recession. And if it's sloping from a positive number to a negative number, or a very low number like 1%, it means you're heading into recession. So where's the number right today, and what did the White House say as well? The number today is 6.9% GDP growth of the U.S. economy. Good? No, because Wall Street thought it was 7% just a few days ago. It came in weaker, 6.9%. Wall Street said it's going to 4% by the end of the year. I say it's going to 0 or 1%. And then after that, I project in a negative number. Deutsche Bank is co-signing my analysis as well, the first U.S. bank, or actually German bank, to say the U.S. economy is going into 2 years recession. That means a negative number starting next year. Goldman Sachs, going into the weekend, said there's a 35% chance that we're going in recession for 2 years. Now, what did the White House say? The White House said, you know what? Wall Street's saying 4% by the end of the year. We're saying 3.7%. Ouch. That means that the White House says inside information that you and I don't know that signals the inflation, the looming recession may be quicker upon us. The comments were off the record for obvious reasons. It means that something in the White House is not working if we're dropping from 6% growth to 4% at the end of the year. What did the White House insider also say? It said also that we think that this is good and could be a good number because other economies like South Korea will shrink to 2.5% growth, United Kingdom 3.7%, and Germany 2.1%. I don't co-sign that one at all. Why? Because we're a bigger economy and we should have more growth. Now, the breaking news on that number this morning for April 25th, 2022 is that the stock market is down 200 points today, not because of the Federal Reserve, not because of the housing market, not because of that number, but because of the Chinese situation. China, as I've been detailing for you, I think over the last month, is the second major economic story of the year. I told you last Halloween that if Vladimir Putin, with his 100,000 troops then at the Ukrainian border, invaded Ukraine, it would be the biggest economic story of 2022. Well, the second biggest story is China. It's on lockdown now because a subvariant of Omicron, something I've not made clear before, so I want to make it clear today. China does not have high vaccination rates, and that subvariant is really desecrating the country. And that desecration is now spreading, yes, to other countries. So Wall Street's down 200 points today because they believe that lockdowns could be coming to other countries. It's a 2-year anniversary of this channel today, and on the first day of this channel, I was recording on an empty beach in Hermosa Beach, which you see tonight on Evenings LALATE in prime time for a special. There was lockdown now. Now, 2 years later, we're talking about lockdowns once again. And this is why Build Back Better Act is likely to get passed, because the economic data is getting very bad very quickly. Why is Wall Street taking such a tumble today after it fell 1,000 points last Friday? Because they do not know how widespread the lockdowns could be in Europe and certainly anywhere closer to us thereafter. The concern is that that would drop GDP numbers. I just showed you the GDP numbers for United Kingdom, 3.7%. Understand, if we have a lockdown in these other countries, their economies shrink. Now, let's go to Jay Powell. This is why this week is very turbulent. You know what happened last week? You saw what happened last week because you were watching this channel. Jay Powell gave us guidance on the interest rates, which impacts your benefits if you're on Social Security and veterans benefits. But that's not going to be the case this week. Why? Because the way that Fed speak works is that now there's a silence period. They will not be talking about projections or anything this week. That's why they talked a lot last week. Now it's zip closed for 1 week, and then they go in the FOMC meeting. What happened right before the weekend, which I didn't have time to cover over the weekend? We had one Fed governor say, Maybe we need to do 3/4 of a basis points. But for now, half basis point every meeting will work. This is big because we're looking at your benefits. Remember, this is SS 300. Joe Biden promised in his presidential platform to swap your COLA for inflation. What does this do for your benefits? It's a great benefit. COLA is the current benchmark. Every December, they assess your benefits based upon COLA. Last December, it was 5%. So your benefits went up 5%, not just that month, not just this year, lifetime. But you got cheated because inflation at the time was 8%. Yes, you should have gone up 8%. That would have been $200 more per month. So what does Joe Biden want to do? He wants to swap that COLA for inflation. Good. That would raise your benefits up $200 a month. If inflation tracks at 4% later this year, then that would raise your benefits up another $100 because once your benefits go up, they never go down. So what is Jay Powell doing in that May FOMC meeting? We already know that. He already told us just a few days ago when they were talking a lot last week. He said we're doing a half basis point. That's easy. I told you that 2 weeks earlier. I'm also telling you that the next FOMC meeting will also be a half basis point. I'm going to know in about a few days from now if it looks like we will have a lot of half basis point increases for several months, because that's starting to sound like the collective statement. As Powell says, in my view, to be a little bit more quicker and to be a little bit more aggressive. I think there's something to be said for front-end loading that's appropriate. I would say the 50 basis point on the table for the May meeting. What's he doing? Front loading means coming in more aggressively by bringing down inflation by raising your interest rates. Remember, you don't want inflation to come down before Joe Biden makes that swap from COLA to inflation, because you want to lock in that higher percentage point right now. Do I think that Jay Powell is going to get down inflation by May? No. Is he going to get down by June? I don't think so. No. What's going on? What's going on is a coupling of the Build Back Better Act analysis and your SS 300. Let's go over the details right now. The reason why they got to do Build Back Better Act is because of 3 supply chain disruptions. The reason why I don't think Jay Powell's going to get inflation down, I think it's good for your benefits for SS 300, is we have 3 supply chain disruptions. The first one was coming out of COVID in late 2020, early 2021. Early 2021. The second supply chain disruption was Putin invading Ukraine in spring 2022. The third supply chain disruption is a subvariant of Omicron. Notice how I ended the sentence there, period, the subvariant of Omicron. Yeah, this is brand new today. Brand new today, because over the last 2 weeks, I said the third supply chain disruption is China and its subvariant of Omicron. But today, Wall Street is down 200 points because they now believe that there may be supply chain disruptions in Europe as well. Folks, we can't have all the supply chain disruptions, and nothing from Jay Powell in his toolbox fixes it. What's a supply chain disruption? Let's go over China as the simplest example. We have U.S. manufacturers who make our goods in China and then ship them back here. We can't ship them because the shipping is not available because everyone's sick. Then, also, we can't get the products that are made in China for China and for us back to here because of supply chain disruption. Now, when we talk about European supply chain disruption, it's getting worse. And no one knows how severe it is. And I got to tell you again, nothing that Jay Powell has in his toolbox fixes the situation. This is why I think you're good if Joe Biden makes that swap from COLA to inflation right today. And then I think this all supports Build Back Better Act. Build Back Better Act, just like it was on day one of this channel, is all about giving people relief in time of need. And the time of need right now is actually getting a little bit worse. You're going to see major trouble. You're going to see people having problems paying their car loans, people having problems paying their adjustable mortgage rates. They're now surging to 5%. You're going to see people having problems paying for simple bills because inflation is out of control and energy prices continue to grow. The economic data across the board is all bad, with the exception of the labor numbers, and then likely to get bad as well. That's why they're going to do Build Back Better Act faster than ever before. Day one of this channel, I was covering EID on PPP and similar items. I was not covering stimulus. When I moved into stimulus by that summer, I talked about how Mitch McConnell said the U.S. economy was great. It wasn't. It was the middle of 2020. The economy was in tailspin downward. Democrats saying it was horrible. It was, and that's why they had to do stimulus. It's different now. Republicans and Democrats agree the U.S. economy is in a tailspin downward once again. And now it's a little bit different because the Republicans want to gain seats by giving you assistance, and the Democrats want to retain seats by giving you assistance. So this is where it ramps up very interestingly, very quickly. The economic data that came in the last 7 days continues to be bad, and I'll have more data later tonight on Evenings LA in prime time. The latest data is that the CPI, the Consumer Price Index, shows massive price escalation of inflation in less than 30 days. Energy prices went up 11% from February to March. Fresh fruits and vegetables went up 3% in 1 month. That's enormous, folks. Grains as well. Non-fresh fruits, just general foods, went up 2%. And then the core CPI number, which refers to how much of price inflation for all goods went up, was 0.3% February to March. Then we have the housing marks down for consecutive months. Housing starts down. People are not buying homes. We have numbers like the non-farm payroll jobs. The creation of jobs across the U.S. economy continues to stagger. Loss of 60,000 jobs below projections. This is all bad economic data, and that is why they're doing Build Back Better Act really quickly. Build Back Better Act has a lot of checks in there, $15,000 to $80,000 of checks. We call it forced stimulus. And you may think that forced stimulus is only done by Congress, but it's also done by other people. And who are they? First up is the President of the United States. The President of the United States has taken out stimulus checks from the Build Back Better Act and made them law. And they're presidential forced stimulus checks, and they're landing by direct deposit. It's incredibly insane great news. It's coming up later in this recording. Then out of nowhere came brand new other forced stimulus checks. Get ready for them, 20 of them. Where are they coming from? They're coming from your states. Wow, this is huge. But let's take a step now over to what's going on with that SS300. If Joe Biden makes that swap from COLA to inflation by calling up the Social Security Administrator head today, he'd lock in $200 more per month right now. Then, if inflation tracks at 4% by December, that would lock in another $100. That's SS300. If they got Build Back Better Act out the door, you get about $15,000 to $80,000 of checks. I've covered them extensively on this channel over the last year. Those checks would land as well. Now, what has landed in the last 7 days, in addition to those other stimulus checks, which I'm getting to in just a second, it's student loan debt forgiveness. Wow. The President of the United States is ramping up with a lot of student loan debt forgiveness. 6 executive orders, 6 laws in 7 days. And folks, there's one thing that broadcast media loves to talk about student loan debt forgiveness. I guess it's a very digestible story. So they don't cover this, but they cover that. And let's go over the details today. The president went into the weekend with an insanely great statement from his press secretary. Said, the forgiveness of all student loan debt is still on the table. Excuse me? I didn't even know it was on the table. It must be a teal table with the teal drapes and the teal lamparaba. I don't know. What's that word? Candelabra, not lamparaba. Votorama, candelabra. Yeah, it's just Michelabra, baconalabra. No, we just have no bacon, so it's not a labra of bacon anywhere. There you go. That is the really interesting news. Now, what has the president done with student loan debt forgiveness? He forgave student loan debts for individuals who became disabled after graduation. He forgave student loan debts for individuals who went to work in the public and private sector and nonprofit sector after graduation. Then, the last 6 days, it really heated up. First, he said if you have student loan debts due in May, he's rolling over the deadline to September. Next, he said if your student loan debts are in default, he'll put them into good standing. Insane, incredible, great news. Third, he said that if your student loan debts are the result of fraud committed by the university against you, he's going to forgive the debts. Wow, that's incredible news. And then finally, he said that if your student loan debt's the result of statutes which I can modify, I'm going to modify those statutes, and this looks very similar to something else. First, it looks like SS300. All he has to do is pick up the phone and call the Social Security Administrator head, swap COLA to inflation as the benchmark. It looks like SNAP. He did this in October last year. Called up Department of Agriculture, say, pay people more money. You're not paying them enough money for food. And guess what we're looking at now? Exactly what I projected and predicted was going to happen. It came from John Kean. the former education secretary under Obama Biden. He said 2 weeks ago, Joe knows that he has the authority under executive branch to do this. We did it under Barack. We passed the laws. All he does is modify the language. And that's what's happening with Miguel Cardona in the latest executive order in Department of Education. Now, I'm no expert when it comes to loans, so get a pen and paper out. Take notes along with me. James Cavall is the undersecretary to Miguel Cardona at Education. And he says, get ready to write this down, IDR credit, write those words down. We have an ongoing rulemaking that will take a look at the type of statutes that should qualify for IDR credit, and there may be potentials for us to change the rules as we move forward. Changing the rules of the IDR credit so more of you get student loan debt forgiveness. Okay, get ready to write this one down. Public service loan forgiveness. This is what he also said, Cavall. We're looking to immediately change the public service loan forgiveness program so that will result in immediate debt forgiveness or debt cancellation for hundreds of thousands of borrowers. And get ready to write this one down. Income-based repayment programs, modifying that so we get several thousands of other people forgiven across the board. Wow, that is absolutely incredible. Now, absolutely also incredible is the latest forced stimulus check that has landed. It happened going into the weekend, and I went over it this weekend. But if you missed it, don't worry. If you're a Purple Hawk, Purple Power Casino VIP, you already had it in the membership newsletter, but get ready for a revamped newsletter. Have you become a member? The link's at the top of the chat, the pinned comment. Purple Hawk, Purple Power Casino VIP. Become a member right now. You're going to see in just a second why it's so important. But last Thursday, for the members, I immediately put in the membership newsletter the delivery by direct deposit of the latest stimulus check. It's check, can we hear the drum roll? D. Yes, D. It's a forced stimulus check of $2,000 on average coming from many states across the country. What happened? On Thursday last week, I told you that 2 states, Pennsylvania and also Maine, were proposing, and when I say proposing, it means they're going to get done, a 4th stimulus check to directly come to you by direct deposit. What happened? Let's go over the quote at the time. The quote at the time was from Pennsylvania's governor, Tom Wolf. Pennsylvania should not have to choose between paying for utilities or groceries or gas. We have the opportunity, meaning the state has the money in the bank account to give it to you. We have the opportunity and the means, the money, to ensure that you're not struggling, to ensure success. And I'm asking the General Assembly to unite across the aisles for the sake of every Pennsylvanian to get this money out the door, give this money to people out of the coffers, bank accounts of the state of Pennsylvania and into the pockets of Pennsylvanians. There you go. That was Thursday with a $2,000 check posed by the governor of Pennsylvania to its citizens. Then later that day came Maine with a $550 check for its citizens. And guess what I said then? It's like every time I project something to predict it, it happens. I predicted at the time that you're going to see a lot of other states giving you 4th state stimulus checks by direct deposit like Pennsylvania and Maine, and less than 48 hours passed. And we went from 2 states to a potential 20 states. Wow. What went on and what happened? This is huge. Let me tell you what went on. States were given a lot of money under the first stimulus package of early 2020 when this channel launched. I wasn't covering the subject matter at the time. But by the summer of 2020, I had moved into the subject matter. And guess what was happening? You remember. The Temple Doom Nancy Pelosi was saying to Steve Mnuchin, states are going bankrupt. I said they weren't. I had the analysis that they weren't. Steve Mnuchin said the same thing back to Nancy. They weren't going bankrupt. In fact, he and I were both correct. State of California had a big surplus. That she was running this narrative that states are going bankrupt, they need a lot of money. So what does Steve Mnuchin, then Treasury Secretary under Donald Trump, say? You know, Nancy, we'll just settle this. I'm inserting a provision into first stimulus. Use or lose. You either use the money of the state or you return the money back to me. Guess what happened? Suddenly states started sending out stimulus checks everywhere. I mean, it was just left and right. Why? Because the states do not want to lose the money. And that was what happened then. What happened in early 2021? Well, Janet Yellen passed with Joe Biden the American Rescue Plan, the 3rd stimulus package, which was what we're talking about right now. Lots of money in there. And what did Janet Yellen do? She inserted a provision in there also for use or lose. The concept is simple. States use the money, give it to your citizens, or return it back to us. What did I tell you last Thursday? I told you last Thursday that 100% all states were given the same amount of money based upon residence. Every state. It doesn't matter if the state is blue or red. It doesn't matter if the state is Republican or Democrat. It doesn't matter if the state is rich or poor. It doesn't matter if it's East Coast or West Coast. It doesn't matter about anything. Every state was given the same amount of money based upon the number of citizens that live in that state. Second, I told you states were overpaid on the third stimulus. Number 3, I told you that every state will find money and will use the money. No state is returning money back to the federal government. And number 4, I told you we're going to go from 2 states, Pennsylvania, Maine, to a lot more in just a few days. I did not think it was going to move that quickly, but within 48 hours, we went to 20 states. 20 states are now doing fourth stimulus checks. And folks, I got to tell you, we aren't done there yet. We're going to see a lot more. Let me tell you why. It looks a little bit like Build Back Better Act. Remember, we just did the calendar counting for Build Back Better Act early in this video? Well, let me do the calendar counting for the states and the fourth stimulus check right now. The state stimulus check. The states are a little bit different than the federal government. Let me explain something to you. States have governors, and the governor is either Republican or Democrat usually. And whatever that governor is, it's generally what the party control is like in that state. And so if the state governor says, I want to do something, you can generally take that check to the bank and cash it, meaning that the governor's push to do something usually happens. Now, what does that mean for you? What it means for you is that state governors are quickly looking at the situation. And they also have a midterm election. Governors actually have 2 dates to deal with. A midterm election, it's also November. And then also they have the date to get you the check. Let's look at the date to just get you the check, which is actually further out. Use or lose. Well, they got to get you the money by about November, October. They can't wait to December. Otherwise, they got to return the money. So if they're giving you the money, let's say in October, the governor has to sign it into law in September. I mean, if he signed it into law by September, they got to have the second part of the state Senate vote by August. First part voted by July. Both parts agree upon what they're going to do by June, meaning they have to propose in May. Here you go, we're right here. And guess what? If we're doing this based upon the timeline that the governors want to get the check to you to influence your voting in the polls, then we move it even a month earlier. Then we're right here. That is why you can see these states announce these items across the board. So which states are giving fourth stimulus checks? What about those presidential fourth stimulus checks? There is brand new fourth stimulus presidential checks landing by direct deposit. I have the latest details on that coming up in the second half of this video. There is now state fourth stimulus checks landing by direct deposit. I have that coming up in the second half of this video. Now we have the incredible win by President Macron in France. Huge win on Sunday. The first sitting president to be re-elected in many years. And guess you know what that's about? Big for you, it's 6 stimulus. I have the latest details on 6 stimulus, and then I'll have a preview of what's coming up tonight as we celebrate the 2-year anniversary of this channel, and then I'll have a personal note today in this broadcast right now in the second half of this video about what we learned over the last 2 years and what we're learning going forward. It's a big day. It's a big Monday. It's a big April 25th of 2022. The toast is toast and the butter is butter and the coffee is brewing. I'll be back with you in 60 seconds, but first, here's a little bit about the members community page. Don't forget to become a member during the commercial break. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, or Calcino VIP. See you back in 60 seconds. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE. And the excitement continues on a big Mornings LA live on air from Santa Monica, California for April 25th, 2022. This channel celebrates its second year anniversary today. And in those 2 years, everything that I said generally happened. I projected that 8% inflation would be kicking in December 2022. It did. 2021, it did. I projected that inflation was going to stay hot in January and February. It did. Then I said it was going to go even hotter in March. What happened? It did. Early in this recording, I went over that CPI number, which signaled that the U.S. inflationary rate went a little bit hotter in the month of March. That is good news for your SS benefits, because remember, if they swap that COLA for inflation today, you lock in $200 more per month because inflation is 8%. If inflation stays at 4% by December, that would be another $100 on top of that. Jay Powell says in his latest comments that he can get inflation down to 1.9% by the end of the year. I don't think he is going to. Now, I've been saying over the last 2 weeks that we're going to have two 50 basis point increases by the Federal Reserve in the next two FOMC meetings. The first one coming up in a few days from now. I'll see shortly thereafter if we can have a lot more of those 50 basis point increases. But for now, the latest details on that front is that I don't think that anything that Jay Powell is going to do is going to work. I think that inflation is going to stay here because of supply chain disruption, because of the subvariant of Omicron in China and now spreading to Europe. And the situation is that the economy in the United States is stalling up and will stall up more. That means a lot more stimulus, a lot of more stimulus. And the great news is that I told you 4 stimulus checks are going to land. They have. 4 stimulus checks have now landed from the president and from your states. And I'm going to go over the incredible details of how people on this channel are cashing 4 stimulus checks day in, day out, and how you can as well. First, let's go over the state 4 stimulus checks. States have now looked to their bank accounts, looked and see how much money is left over for the third stimulus, and understand that there's a December 2022 deadline to use or lose. So states are doing state stimulus. Let's go over what the status is right today. And how do you learn about the status? The status right today is at the time of this recording, we currently have 20 states. 20 states where 10 have passed the bills, made it law, and the other 10 have proposed the law. Of those 20, some are sending an actual hard cold cash check. Other states are giving you cash when you spend something, sort of a rebate sort of type check. Others are giving you a free walk on something like, let's say, gasoline, that they're removing a burden upon it, like, say, a tax at the pump, so that your gasoline is cheaper. And then other states are just coming up with something totally different. You saw last Thursday how now the newsletter of this channel has been revamped to now, for the first time ever, include state stimulus. That's why you want to become a member. Become a member. Go to the top of the chat, Purple Hawk, Purple Power, or Calcino VIP. Then get that newsletter Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, via the YouTube alert system. Why especially when we talk about this check? Because there's 50 plus states, and there's no time in a 50-minute recording to record about every state. So guess what? Starting today and every day thereafter, we will now feature the membership newsletter, each state, and what that state is doing, proposing, will propose, or has done. What's important to know is that when a state proposes something, it likely happens because of what I went over earlier in this recording about the governor. So I'll feature in that if, for example, state number 1 proposes a check, and then I'll also give you the update when it becomes law. I'll also feature what other provisions they're proposing, like forgiveness of this item or not having to pay for that item, all different approaches, how to do stimulus in respective states. It's all in the newsletter. Currently 20 states. It started with 2 states on Thursday's newsletter last week. It's growing to 20 tonight. And by tomorrow, it could be a lot more. So what is your state doing? When is your state doing it? How is your state doing it? Become a member and get that newsletter. It's in the newsletter. That is state 4 stimulus checks. They've landed by direct deposit. Now, let's go over presidential 4 stimulus checks. Presidential forced stimulus checks have also landed by direct deposit. Remember, a lot of different people can send you a forced stimulus checks. It's not just Congress. Right now, we're going to go over the ones the president has sent out by executive action. It's huge, and it's absolutely incredible. You know, one of the biggest subject matters of this channel in late 2020 was doing things by executive action. And there was one thing that to this day has left me dumbfounded, confused, and perplexed, and I still don't know the answer why, was at the time of this recording last October of 2020, I think I started making the recording in August 2020. I said that there was billions of dollars left over at different agencies from first stimulus that Donald Trump could send out as a stimulus check. Don't let that money sit around there. You could send it out as a stimulus check. You'd win the election. He didn't, and guess what happened? Use or lose. The money got returned. No one got that money allocated to them. Joe Biden's not making that mistake. So what is Joe Biden doing right today? He is taking provisions out of Build Back Better Act one at a time and sending you incredible checks. It's huge. And the first check is the first of many that are landing by direct deposit. Are you ready? I hope you remember, pull out that newsletter and follow along with me right now. That first check that is landing by direct deposit is a lot of money, folks. It is a $6,500 to a $12,000 fourth stimulus check. It's huge. And we've never seen a stimulus check of this magnitude in a very, very long time. So let's go over the details. This, my friends, is check A. $6,500 to $12,000 forced stimulus check has become a law by executive action by Joe Biden. He took the check out of the Build Back Better Act, and he has now sent it out. That incredible check has the same eligibility as a third stimulus check. Single individual, $75,000 less, you can get it. Married couple, $100,000 or $50,000 less, you qualify for it. And then if you're on benefits like Social Security, Veterans Benefits, SSI, or SSDI, you can get it as well. What is this check called? It's called the Homeowners Weatherizing Grant Check. It was originally in Build Back Better Act in the second cluster. It's been taken out, and now it's landed by direct deposit. Okay, now that we know how much it is, how do we get it? You become a member. Then look for that newsletter, Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, via the YouTube alert system. Open that newsletter when it lands at 7 p.m. tonight, and go right into the first few lines. Oil, wheat, and grain prices tonight, and then check A. When you see check A, you're going to see a link that sends you to the national website. Click the link, and you go in there, and you see the national website. Then choose your state, like Mississippi. Then choose the Mississippi Homeowners Weatherizing Grant Check, and then apply. You'll get funded within about a week once approved. Check B is even better and a lot more money. $15,000 to $80,000 forced stimulus check landed by direct deposit. Congratulations, the Catalyst viewers of the channel who have gotten it. Joe Biden made this law by taking this out of Build Back Better Act. Same eligibility as a third stimulus check. Single individual, $75,000 less, you get it. Married couple, $150,000 less, you can get it. This is like check A, but a lot more money. Average view of this channel has gotten 66,000 to 8,000. The routing times at the time when it launched was initially 1 week. It's slowing down because it's been around for a while. To get this check, open that newsletter. Go into the newsletter under check A, then you see check B, and then click the link for check B. That sends you into a different website, the national website. That'll have a map like this. Then click your respective state, like Georgia, then apply. Pounds. And the funding is so quick and so fluid. You deserve it. Get that incredible check across the board. That is check A, check B. Now let's go to the incredible check C. Check C is absolutely astronomical. And it wasn't my creation. It was the third stimulus's creation. But it wasn't initially how he thought it was going to be. In fact, that is the benefit of being a longtime viewer of this channel. How do we get here? In December 2020, we were thick of the pandemic. There was no money. We were waiting for Steve Mnuchin and Nancy Pelosi to get a deal, and they had no deal. And we sat back and we wondered, where was the money? And I said, let me go find you some money. So I found people money. $250,000 for the viewers at the time. It was not a lot. There wasn't a lot. In December 2020, I got people money for rent, utilities, and mortgages. This is like Tyrone and his family of four out of Boston, getting the $15,000 paying all their bills for rent and utilities from December to February, early 2021. Now, we had a luck of the draw, very big luck. I had an exclusive document in December 2020, and I looked at it, I said, this looks like another piece of legislation. I'm going to coin the expression for this third stimulus, as I coined the expression for fourth, fifth, sixth, and seventh on this channel. I said, this becomes law. There's going to be a lot of money for the same thing I'm just getting you right now, rent and utilities and mortgage assistance. Let's hope it becomes law. It did. Then it became third stimulus. When it became third stimulus, I said you can get on average about $15,000 for this money. Viewers were trained so well and listened so well, took notes so well, watched every video so well that they did not get $15,000 when this became law. They got on average $45,000, with many viewers getting upwards of $125,000 to $145,000. The success stories continue to come in every single day. But let's look at just a few of these success stories. Look at the money for rent that viewers got and continue to get. $20 all the way up to $27,000 for rent. Let's look at the numbers for utilities. Mark's brother-in-law got $15,000 for utilities. Let's look at the Snap. The Snap will be one of the big legacies of the channel. This channel has gotten millions of families massive sums of money for Snap. Mark's brother-in-law is getting $25,000 a year over 10 years. That's $250,000. Let's look at the combos. $32,000. Let's look at the bigger numbers. There's Mark. Well, Mark went back and got more money. He went to $50,000, then he went to $100,000, then he got check B, he went to $166,000. Here's Lorraine, she was at $105,000, then she went to $120,000. So what happened? That was early 2021. I said, go get 3 or 4 months of rent. Viewers did. Then last summer, they got it again. Last winter, they got another 3 to 4 months. I said this early spring 2022, go get another round, 3 to 4 months. And viewers said, no. Excuse me, no. Yeah, no, I'm not going to keep on doing 3 to 4 months. I'll just do a whole year. I said, a whole year? Who's going to give you a whole year? Can you do that? Can you do that? I'm out of the loop here. I'm trying to get you 3 to 4 months every few months, and you're trying to do a whole year? They got it, and they continue to get it over and over again. The average viewer of the channel getting $2,000 a month over 12 months. Many viewers getting several years of these MSC checks. Folks, this is the true testament of viewers who listen to the videos, watch the videos, take notes. They took the information I made on camera and they got big money as Purple Hawks. They swirled, they swarmed, and they pounced, and they got sums of money, which I never thought they can. How do you get it? Let's go over the details right now. You're going to reach out to a series of places: City Hall, your city housing authority; your county hall, your county housing authority; your state hall, and your state housing authority. And the keywords you're going to say are rent assistance because of COVID, mortgage and utility assistance because of COVID. 3 things you must do. You must reach out to all 6 places. But in a second, I'm going to tell you it's 15. Put multiple applications in and then try to do all Euro checks. You need to open that membership newsletter and rely on those nonprofits. Now, why are those nonprofits so important? If you're a member, you're not going to have 6 places to reach out to you. You're going to have 15 places to reach out to. Yeah, you're going to make 15 phone calls because that's 15 possible checks. You'll have upwards of about a 50% rejection rate, but you'll also have a 50% approval rate. And that's how Johnny kept on pushing, going from $0 to $80,000 in 1 week, his 2 family members $50,000, and his neighbors getting them over $250,000 in just 1 month. Get the membership newsletter to learn about those check C's. You deserve it. These are the latest checks, and yes, you can get lots of these checks. These checks overlap. We're going over check C or D. These checks all overlap. They are forced stimulus checks. You deserve every single one of them. Get them today. Do not wait. That, my friends, is the incredible sums of money. Do it today. Get check A, and get check B, and get check C. 4 stimulus check, 4 stimulus check, 4 stimulus check from the federal government and from 3rd and 4th stimulus. And then get your check D now from your states, and it's all detailed in the newsletter. Become a member today. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, or Calcino VIP. Get the incredible membership right today. The link's at the top of the channel and pin comment. Then get that newsletter Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time via the YouTube alert system. You deserve this incredible sums of money, and you'll get it right today. Tonight on Evenings LALATE, or somewhere in our evening programming tonight, you'll see that special 1-year anniversary. It's still being filmed. It's a lot of filming. You're going to see footage you've never seen before, perhaps. You're going to see footage you may have never seen in over 2 years. You're going to see things you've never seen. But one thing you're going to see that's very familiar to even this broadcast and that broadcast is the element of pushing. You get to see in that video where I was telling people on day one of the channel, you didn't get that EIDL grant approved, pick up the phone, call. Don't call one time, call 5 times, call 6 times, call 7 times. And they got funded. Viewers got funded. By the end of the game, by the end of that EIDL round of EIDL grants and loans, everyone got funded. Everyone got funded for the PUA. That made the effort to call. It's times like that that the same narrative continues to this day. Different program, different name, different type, same type of push. Continue to push because you deserve all this money. It was in those very first days that people did not know whether they were going to give or get their EIDL grant or get their EIDL loan or their PUA unemployment or their FPUC or their PPP loan. I said you will. I said you will. I'm going to show you how. And what did people say those very first few days? Until you came around, LALATE, no one was encouraging me. No one was encouraging me that the money was going to come. No one was giving me understanding of how the money was going to come or when it was going to come. I had no one to talk to. I had no community to speak with. I just thought I was left alone wondering where the money was for that EIDL until you told me it's coming. Stay positive. Stay focused. The money's coming. This is what you do. It will come. Do not lose hope. This pandemic's just starting. We don't know how long it's going to go, but the money will land. Look familiar? It does look familiar. It's exactly what's happening today. People thought that forced stimulus was never going to pay a penny. It is paying a penny. A lot of pennies. All these incredible checks out by President Joe Biden, presidential forced stimulus checks have landed by direct deposit. All these incredible checks from third stimulus we thought will run out and now paying an MSC. All these incredible forced stimulus checks from states, brand new in the last 3 days. And we're going to see more states later today, more states this week. It's all heating up. And then, out of nowhere, 6 stimulus going to heat up as well. Macron, the president of France, reelected on Sunday. Whew, that was a close one. He went to a runoff. And for the first time in many decades, the sitting president has been reelected. This is big. And we'll feature more about this tonight on E's LA to the extent we have time. This is the trifecta of Germany, France, and the United States. We cannot have all the Western allies go into recession because of Vladimir Putin. We cannot have our U.S. economies or our partner allies like Italy or France have their citizens unable to pay for gasoline or wheat. Gasoline is at the highest levels it was when I first made the recordings of Putin's invasion. You cannot sustain $4 a gallon at the pump. You cannot sustain a $5 loaf of bread. This situation has continued to grow and it's not settling down. And with that, that is why the great news overnight is, yes, celebrate because Macron has been reelected. Macron, Biden, Chancellor, Germany. This is the trifecta of progressiveness to get money to their citizens. And there you go. What a day. Tonight we have a lot of exciting details. Where will that special 2 anniversary land? How will it look? How long will it run? What will involve? There's just so much excitement. And I don't even know the answer. I'll know the answer by the time tonight's recordings come along. But you don't want to miss it. So get some popcorn ready. Get your bacon ready, which you didn't share with me. Get your bacon roses. Get your sugar-free chocolate cake recipes. Get your panettone. Get your wavable check. Your talking cows. Your scarf running SBA heads. Get all your personalities and food and ready tonight because we're going to have a lot of fun. It's like nothing you've ever seen before. The first part of it has been taped. The rest has not been taped. It's going to be taped right after the broadcast. And I got to tell you, there's a lot you're going to be shocked about in that video. You're going to be shocked. And so with that, don't forget to subscribe and become a member. Make sure you subscribe as well. You have to subscribe in addition to becoming a member. Go to the front of this channel and hit that bell to make sure you're a subscriber, not only just a member. Then set that bell to all notifications. Then become a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, Calcino VIP. Get that newsletter tonight. Stay informed, stay focused from the shores of Santa Monica, California to the shores of your home. We got a lot coming up today, and we're just getting started. Coming up next is noontime. Stay informed, stay focused. Have a beautiful day. The toast was toasting, the butter was butter, and the coffee's brewing. And I'll be back with you in just a little bit as noontime heats up in about 30 minutes.